Alright then.
Harold?
So, Harold? That sucks.
Yeah, man, I'm sorry, I'm not just playing. You see what's like that to start trying to deck deck. What I need you to do is take a deck, put it back to the deck box, and hand it back to me. I'll go first.
Round deck check, huh?
Mariano. You're Mariano? Thank you. You're back.
I've had another deck, I play you with it. Huh?
My hero.
Why? Well, you know what I'm playing.
Sorry. I don't understand what it's in.
Did you see it?
No, I just know what you're playing.
Now, how do you know that?
Go ahead. I want to use that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm smart. I have the gift, dude. I made that deck really good on my YouTube channel.
What's your channel?
7064.
Damage calculation?
Yeah. So,
I know when they're near.
65, 8K. Main phase 2.
I always want the same for the sleeves. Change up the sleeves.
And you said what? What was it? The channel?
Stunts 086.
Is that fine? Are you picked?
On activation, action.
Sure. Pass. Yeah.
You're good now? Someone. And face your model?
Mm-hmm.
And then search for it. Any heroic base card? No. Okay. Go. No problem. Let's go Abercrombie.
Okay. Good.
Anything on damage? still use this, can't you? What would you say? Finish Julio and what's that?
That's right.
So we're about to do.
Yeah. Everything go. Loving on. Six two.
The Cowboy for game.
21. Yeah.
Cowboy. Let's see it. All right. All right, I'll go first.
Alright. Friend? Let's do this.
Cut. Go ahead.
Yeah. Chucky.
Yeah.
Drop.
When you add hand.
Normal?
All right.
Special? Special? Delta Pro?
Go ahead.
Any face? Cut.
Yeah.
Alright. This is gonna be fun. Yep. Time. Other hand? Yep.
Tap. Good. Summon. Cut.
Attack.
Tap.
That's my turn.
Good.
Check. Good. Yes.
Sure.
Face.
Yeah. Bujins, Ukraine.
Yeah.
Was it? What?
Go ahead.
Back. What's your hat?
Unfazed your model skill?
Yeah. Turn. Normal summon. Activate. Chain. Discard. Torganza. Attack.
Black Rowan? Some wizard?
Good.
One, two? One, two. Summon?
Is it going to bounce back to my hand or is it?
If it doesn't die, it goes back to your hand.
Summon? Marty and Rowan? They go back.
I can't remember what I'm missing. I don't know what it is. I mean, I can't.
Mikazuchi.
You haven't taken any other damage.
Good.
Leo running over.
Good.
18.
Good.
And then my controller. Yeah. Make sure I don't have any air.
Good.
Because it's not on that.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm seeing it.
Good. Back. Tap. Good. Targets. I couldn't get CC.
Right, you.
He doesn't come out. No, they both have to come out.
And then game 3, they just like
Targets.
game 3, I got
Redo.
I couldn't do anything.
I would have been so mad. Draw.
Fully running
Attack. Attack.
Yeah, that's right. I feel like no.
You got 23? Cool. Good.
I had a switch short set that game. I had the double barrier, double break of barrier, and a switch short set.
Redux. Normal summon. Attack. 18. 41 to 500. Good. One sec. I think he's fine. Good.
It wasn't a bad play. It was you to answer that. Like, there's really no wrong or right play in this one.
Sure.
It's hard to determine exactly what's hard to explain things because there's so many. So I didn't even think you had like. Yeah, like that many lines.
Can you still touch? No. Because it says you can't activate.
I can't catch a break.
One card hand?
Yeah, it is. Hey. So good. Judge.
Yeah. Judge!
Attack.
16.
Alright. I just want to be sure of something.
Good.
I summon Marty and attack his art. Can it
You're in me for game?
Can you detach material at the same time? Alright. So attacks or attack? wanted to use that so bad. She wouldn't let me set it off.
Good thing I double knocked that one.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is round 2 of 2014 Nationals with me playing ILMOS versus Bujins. So a little background on this. I've lost the first round to Inzector artifacts due to time, so it wasn't really a good way to start off the day. And, you know, I was pretty depressed at this point, so I wasn't really sound of mind. So, yeah. So here I would have a really good first turn hand, because I would have the book set for the Yamato and a King of Pharaoh Imp and a Hukake in defense mode that's invincible. Would have been good, but you know how dice rolls are. So the opponent goes off with Yamato and Turtle in the graveyard, a really good first turn play for them, and no back row. So watch me play with my life points a little bit. And here I made a slight miscalculation. Usually I special Thrasher to bait out any cranes in his hand, and well, he did have a crane in his hand, so it was a good bait. It was a shame because I wanted that duality to be live, but I had to get rid of that Yamato right away. And in hindsight, I could have just summoned Mirmello and then dualitied, but by habit, I just really want to get that Yamato off of the board. And he drops the crane, which is a 1-for-1 in the end, which did not waste my normal summon, so Thrasher did his job. And watch me play with my life points a little bit more. Now here I debated on what to summon with the Kage to Kage. Now this was the first misplay that I made. I could just book a moon his Yamato after I attack with Thrasher. He would be forced to turtle his Yamato. Then made phase 2, I could just make a Black Ship of Corn and send it to the graveyard. And yeah, that didn't click in my head when I did this. So here I try to go for the King of Pharaoh Imp and the Hukake in defense mode play, but he maxied and it just wasn't worth it. Cause I would have Angeli out of the Hukake, banished, specialed out Angeli, and made a Pharaoh Imp in defense mode, and just had a really effective wall, which he would not be able to get over that easily. But because he maxied, it would just not have been worth it, because he most likely would draw into another Bujin, made a Susanoo, Milkuin to pop the Hukake, and then attacked over the King of Pharaoh Imp. In the end, it just wasn't worth it. So I tried to sit on this wall here, because if he got rid of the Kage to Kage, then he most likely would not go as far as to kill Angeli. Just hope. And then I could make a comeback play next turn. Because Angeli's really not that threatening if it's just by herself, so most likely they wouldn't do too much about it, and no, he didn't. So I play the defensive game now, which means I have to special summon with Angeli to make a huge, unkillable wall, which means my duality is dead a lot of the times, which I really regretted. So here I try to special out Hukake to banish, and then special Mageline. I would summon the Mirmello, search, and then made Xyz, but he broke all of that with just a single breakthrough skill. Luckily, I could just sit on him, and hopefully he survives another turn so he can do the same thing next turn. But the opponent decides to actually do something about the Hukake and went for Susanoo play. And here I felt pretty safe because I had a wall and 2 back row to protect said wall. But he had the graveyard Armada and decides to just break through this all. He summons Susanoo. I try to book it so I get rid of the turtle in his graveyard, so in the future I could make a 101 play to take his Susanoo. So I try to just get this out of the way as I can. And you never know, he might forget that he had to run a graveyard. Like, you never know. I forgot I had a Book of Moon in my hand first turn, so, you know. And I Trap Tricks Nightmared his Susanoo, hoping that he would turtle, so his effect would be negated, but he would just sit there. And then I would have made a 1/1 next turn to take it. But he was wise and just let the Susanoo die to Reincarnation out his second Susanoo. A shame, really, for me. Otherwise, I would have 1/1 and then attacked with 1/1 and Hoot Cake directly. Would have been nice. So he Quillins the Hoot Cake, effectively killing it. And he goes for big amounts of damage by special summoning the Hirume and then attack. This round here, like, I got really depressed. I mean, I know it's just a game and all, but when you make that first turn misplay that could have changed the entire game, like in a completely different direction, you just kind of regret a lot. So here he goes Cowboy for game. If it was at locals, I would just say, alright Cowboy, you know, let's go with next game. But since it's nationals and all, you kind of have to go through the motions of, yeah, can I see your Cowboy? And then we move on to the next game. And here I start off really bad with the White Dragon Ninja in hand. So that's pretty much a -1 already. Had this been in the deck, this game would have been gone a completely different direction, but that's the risk you play when you play White Dragon Ninja. But it's just so good, like it saves you so many games. So here I go for the first turn Imp into Kagotakage to load up for the Allure of Darkness play, to hopefully draw into more back row to protect the King of Pro Imp. So I go through the motions, and luckily I did this, like so luckily, because I would draw into 2 Kagetokages in the next following 2 turns, which would have been really bad. So I lure into 2 Mind Crushes, a really good allure, and then I set for back row. Pass turn, and here is already the very first target for Mind Crush. And so I flip it. Not only do I get to see his hand, but I also snipe any other possible Yamadas he would have had in hand. So here I just take a quick glance as hand, and I could have Mind Crushed his 2 hairs, but they weren't really threatening right now, so I decided just not to. Instead, I would have waited for another Tenki, because the odds of him drawing into another Tenki were still there, and if I Mind Crushed his hairs, then that would have been 2 hairs in the graveyard, a Tenki that searched out Yamato, and I would have been in a bad position from there. So I decided to just kill off his hairs one by one, and then wait for the Tenki for the Mind Crush to snipe. So one by one, I just try to snipe down his field. Thankfully, I drew into a Rhoda to make my Ninjutsu Art live. Sadly, the White Dragon was in my hand, so I was very mad about that. He sides in the hands, I would assume, because this is a rogue deck, and hands work very well against rogue decks. So I attacked with the Hanzo into a hand, and then I set a Ninjutsu Art. He compulses, so I missed the target for my Ninjutsu Art, but luckily I had a second one already set. Generally, I would go for White Dragon. I would so have loved to go for a White Dragon, but I had to go for a Redox. And then pass turn from there. Opponent goes, but he did not need the Tenki. He just straight up drew into the Yamato. Very depressed, but there's no way I would have known to snipe that draw on Yamato. I mean, I could have just blinded it, and hopefully he would hit the white dragon from my hand if I was wrong. But he didn't really give me time to like think about doing that, because he just went straight to main phase, and I could have said, ho, wait, you didn't say main phase, and then done a dick play and say Mind Crush the Yamato when he flashed it. But I didn't want to be a dick. I mean, it's Nationals, and I really legally could do that, but I didn't want to be that guy, you know? So I finally have a chance to Duality. It would have been nice to have White Dragon last turn, because he would have attacked into my White Dragon with Yamato, and I would have Mind Crushed the Crane, and then, you know, my life would have been so good. Life would have been so good. So a duality for Mirlo. I don't summon it because I want my Kagotsukage to be live. It was here that I just forgot what I Mind Crush first turn because I was just depressed about multiple things. And he has a black coin set. I saw it first turn and I just completely forgot about it. Because all I remembered was 2 hairs, a crane, and a compulse. And then like there was that blank card in my head which was like, what was it? What was it? And that would cost me the game later on. So we just go through the motions for now. I debate on what to Transmigration Prophecy on his end phase because I was planning on just black shipping his Yamato. So I knew I wanted to get rid of the turtle. And then the only other targets were the hairs, which he could just chain. And then load up his Bujin Carnation. So I look at my graveyard, see if I wanted to throw anything back from my graveyard. And then I figured I should just target the hair anyway, because I would rather deal with 1 hair rather than 2 hairs. Just for the off chance that I would have to deal with it eventually. It sure loads up his Bujin Carnations, but he would have the hair anyway, and no matter what, he would be able to chain it to something, making his Bujin Carnations alive, so I just, you know, went with it. So had I remembered that that set was a Black Horn of Heaven, I would have discarded the Mirmelo in my hand and the Redox to Special Mirmelo and pop the Black Horn, and then black shipped his Yamato. But, you know, I forgot he had it, so he Black Horns it, and then I was, again, very, very depressed. So, I decided to just Redox, discard Mirmelo, and special the Hanzo for the backup plan, because I really need to get the Yamato off the field, and to do so without destroying it, so I don't trigger his hair and his Mikazuchi, either one. I Ninja Sworded, and then went for the last target in my deck, the Hyper Hammerhead. And he takes a little bit to read it. And I attack. So, first damage in a long while for me. So I'm just struggling to stay alive while poking away at his life. Because my Hanzos are dead, because there's no more Ninjutsu Arts to search. I still have 3 Magdalens in her deck, to hopefully draw into. And there was 1 Traptrix Mirmelo left in the deck. So out of my entire engine, I had 4 cards that were technically usable to go with this. I side out my BLS because I figured he would side in some cards to hurt BLS. It's generally the card I side out the first. And thinking back on it now, he didn't see BLS first turn, so there was no reason for me to actually side the BLS out. This is what lack of playtesting does to you guys, because all I have is DN, so I don't really have like too much playtesting experience, so, you know, that goes to show that playtesting really does help. I might crush the Mikazuchi because I don't want him to summon and then exceeding for something scary. But he had the Crane, so he goes for the Exiton Knight in hopes to nuke my whole field. I have Black Horn of Heaven it, and then from here we play the top decking game. It really does just go back and forth from here, like I top deck bad, you top decks bad, then, you know, back and forth, back and forth. I draw the Crow, so I was not afraid of Bujin Carnation anymore, because if I remove the target from the graveyard, you can't special summon both, so that would make that dead. So he specials a Hirume, and I searched his graveyard to make sure the hair is still in there, otherwise I would have bottomless the Hirume. But because hair was there, I had to warning it. So instead of taking 2,000, I paid 2,000, and he was left with no monster. So I really could have just specialed Redox a lot and just attack for 16, 16, 16. But I was just really hoping to draw into a Imagineering or a Murmillo to make that Redox a little bit more special, you know? And I only have limited number of Earths for him to come back with, so I wasn't really willing to special Redox multiple times. It actually probably would have been a good idea, but you know, it doesn't matter now. All I know is, luckily I top decked Imagineering to get my system back in the game. It was a card I was so hoping to see, like, throughout the entire top deck war. Because once I draw into Imagineering, I'm like super in the lead within the top deck war. And I had 2 Crows in my hand, so I was not afraid of Bujin Carnation, ready to smack my face in. So he activates his Bujin Carnation, and then targets the turtle and the Mikazuchi. I crow the Mikazuchi, and then effectively fizzling his Bujin Carnation. And he trolls me with a second Bujin Carnation! He goes to target his turtle again, and the Hirume in his graveyard, but I troll him back with another DD Crow. And the top deck war resumes with him at 1 card in hand and me with technically 3 cards and Imagineering to recur multiple times. And then I attack with Imagineering. Smack, smack. And I have not seen a Dark Hole from him yet, so I was afraid of him, you know, activating a Dark Hole for the top of the deck. So I made a 101 to survive it. Because I doubt he plays a 3rd Bujin Carnation, so I wasn't really worried. And making that 101 was a big mistake on my part. I wanted to special summon the Murmillo to pop his recently set card, but he had the Vanity's Emptiness set, sadly. And I go for, hopefully, game, but there's that top deck D Prison to kill my 101. Had that been Imagineering, like the double Imagineering I had earlier, it would have been game. But, you know, that's what they call a misplay. So here I was afraid that he was going to top deck into a Mikazuchi or Yamato, so I soul drained during his draw phase, and then had my Trench alive, which means he would not have been able to hit to hair his monster. And all I needed was 1 monster, just any monster to top deck into. But I didn't draw into that monster. That 500 was completely out of my reach. It would have been extremely nice if he didn't draw into that Coolin, because I would have MST'd the Soul Drain and attacked with Reox for game. But I didn't have a choice. Butts activated that Soul Drain, because he would have haired his Mikazuchi and then ran over my Hanzo, and I would have just, you know, straight up losing position from there. So I had to double knock with Quillin, and then hopefully he didn't draw into a monster, but he draws into the Hirume and then attacks her game. And there it is, good game. So a lot of mistakes were made, and from here on I just played without any worries because I wasn't going to top anyway.